Good afternoon to the grade 10s for the English home language class. We are looking at the mid-year examination that was written today, and I believe it was 70 marks. It was comprehension, language, and summary. We are now adjusting to the paper because this is the second time you are writing such a paper. The first time was at the end of term 1, and you were drilled to write a full paper so that you prepare for today's paper. And I believe you were ready for this paper today. Your time was 2 hours, and the question paper is 3 sections: a comprehension, a summary, and a language. 30 marks to the comprehension, 10 marks to the summary, 30 marks to the language. Read all the instructions carefully is what they call out for every time. Answer all the questions. Don't leave any blanks. Start each section on a new page. Rule off after each section. Number the answers correctly according to the numbering system used in this question paper. Leave a line after each answer. Pay special attention to spelling and sentence construction. Suggested time allocation is 50 marks to section A, 30 marks to section B, 40 marks to 40 minutes to section C. My apologies. Write neatly and legibly. All right. We are looking at the comprehension, which was text A and text B. We have been drilling you to understand that we have a visual and we have a reading text. Embracing the silence was the comprehension. It says awkward pauses can reveal our discomfort with vulnerability and connection. The urge to feel silence often reflects a need for control and certainty. Learning to embrace silence can transform our social interactions. Picture it. You are chatting with a stranger or a group of friends, and then it happens. You have run out of words. The energy in the room falls off a cliff, and you are left just standing there. Silence floods in, and no one seems to know how to wrestle the conversation back to life. Eric Giancoli has coined a term for this awkward gap in conversation. He called it the snob. Eric defines the snob as that terrible dangling silence during an interaction, an awkward pause so uncomfortable that it feels like you have been caught in a naked dash across the room. But here is the twist. Eric does not run from the snob. Rather, he runs into it. Can you believe this guy? So why does the general population fear the snob? Studies show that silence during a conversation disrupts the subtle yet reassuring feedback loop, which we rely on to test the quality of our social interactions. When this silence is okay, we feel insecure. We are left wondering if others find us boring. For some, the snob is murderously awkward, while for others like Eric, it is thrilling. Why is this so? Eric believes that personality types come into play. Extroverts who need a steady streak of back and forth conversation in order to feel at ease find this silences intolerable. Introverts, however, perceive snobs as part of a conversation's natural rhythm, an essential pause which gives them time to gather their thoughts and maintain their inner balance. Emotional intelligence may also be a factor in how we deal with the snob. People can remain in this uncomfortable silence and do not immediately reach for filler words or polite banalities are often better listeners. In their willingness to linger, they open themselves to truly hearing what is being said without the distraction of planning their next remark. Instead of the snob being viewed as a black hole in the conversation, it could rather be viewed as a space for connection, a moment of unspoken mutual respect. The snob can also be a marvelous way to practice mindfulness. In the heart of the snob, we might even find a moment of calm and gently reflection. Such moments are rare in a world which urges us to fill in every gap with words. Eric admits that snobs can be awkward at times, but insists that it is what you do with them which determines their worth. Maybe he is on to something. Real connection, the kind that is honest, weird, and sometimes wobbly, can often do with a snob. So the next time that you find yourself in a snob, be brave. Lean into it. After all, what is a little silence between friends? Silence is golden, speech is silver. This proverb is believed to have roots in the Arabic culture, where it was used as early as the 9th century. The proverb was first printed and explained in English by Thomas Carlyle in 1831. This proverb is now widely used to extol the value of silence over speech. This article is adapted from Maggie Rao, who's a psychologist. Let's go to text B. These awkward pauses are so embarrassing. He's kind of cute when he shuts up. This was a beautiful conversation. a lot of sense of humor. So as a result, there's a lot of play of words as well. So it was highly relevant for us because we are facing what is currently the way we feature and view things in the modern world. So very modern, very current, very relevant for us because we face it in our day-to-day lives and every day. Hey, come on now. Text A, refer to paragraph 1. It says, the writer implies that running out of words during a conversation is awkward. Outline how the use of the word wrestling highlights this understanding. This was a diction question. So if we're looking at a diction question, we are talking about the issue of that it has to do with what is the impact of that word in that sentence or in that line. So that's what we're facing today. All right, let's talk about it and see what we expected to do. One of the things I believe I realize when talking about the word wrestle is that there is some difficulty and discomfort. I'm seeing difficultiness. Sorry. We have difficulty in the conversation. Okay, let me just. One of the things I think I'm seeing is the difficulty part is what is coming out for us. Anything. Right. There is some difficulty in continuing a conversation once you have run out of words. Difficulty in continuing a conversation once you have run out of words. Comment on Eric Giancoli's term for this awkward silence, the snoob. I believe we have a lot of things that you could have used. I believe it will be, my comment is on the slagging of the OO to say the dragging of the awkwardness, and therefore that's where it comes from. This was an open question, so as a result it was an open answer. Learners are going to give very beautiful answers, I believe, to account for this word. So as a result, we're expecting as much as possible. Refer to paragraph 3, account for the rhetoric. Can you believe this guy at the end of this paragraph? One of the things is that it expresses his disbelief. It expresses his disbelief. It expresses his disbelief that someone would actually feel comfortable in an awkward silence. Is comfortable in an awkward silence. Discuss to what extent you identify with the writer's statement at the end of this paragraph. Let's go to paragraph 4 quickly and see what's at the end to remind ourselves. Paragraph 4 says, the studies show that silence during a conversation disrupts the subtle yet reassuring feedback loop which we rely on to test the quality of our social interactions. When this silence is okay, we feel insecure. We are left wondering if others find us boring. Okay. The question says, to what extent do you identify with the writer's statement at the end of this paragraph? Be specific. This was an open answer. One of the things is you could have used your experience to say, what is this one? You don't even know how to make them feel comfortable again as the person they are talking to. So as a result, it's your own opinion. They say you identify. For myself, I believe it's very difficult to find a way to recover the conversation and make them feel comfortable to talk to you again. And therefore, it means that the conversation becomes lost. And therefore, it means that even the communication breaks down because there will be no talking done properly anymore. The writer refers to introverts and extroverts. Use your own words to explain these two character types. This was an LO question. I believe you've done this already in LO. We've been doing it all along. Introverts, we call them very quiet people, and therefore they are comfortable with silence. And as they take time to respond and think, that's what introverts are. Quiet, less talkative. And I believe, but now when we're talking of extroverts, extroverts are loud, talkative, dominate the conversation. But the introverts, they prefer listening in than talking. So I believe we had to separate the explanation and be very clear. So as a result, who, according to the writer, makes a better listener? Give a reason for your answer. I believe what he talked about is people do not make irrelevant comments to make the conversation interesting, because they will truly listen and think about what they will say next. So I believe in paragraph 6, if I remember clearly, let's go back. He mentioned this category. I remember when we're coming here, he says, people who can remain in this uncomfortable silence and do not immediately reach for filler words, exactly, or polite banalities are often better listeners. So it means that the quiet introverts are better. And as such, why? They do not need to make comments unnecessarily. Those who do not make unnecessary comments, they listen better. They will pause, truly listen. Okay. Explain in your own words why the writer suggests that the snoop might be a valuable part of a conversation. Okay. Legal silences during the talks allow for the people listening to think, reflect, allow thinking, reflection to happen, on how and what they will say, on what they will say mostly. And I believe also they will give valuable responses and not for the sake of just saying them. Base your own experience, outline an instance in which the snoop worked in your favor. This was your opinion question, so it means you had to use your experience, whereby silence had to be to your advantage and you did not know what to say. I believe one of the things is when you were caught in a lie, that will be one of the best experiences where you become a snob and you keep quiet. So I believe that's your own experiences. We are looking forward to finding out the experiences that will be brought in. If a question is like this, you cannot get it wrong because it's based your own experience. So as a result, you are giving us what lesson was learned and how it worked for you at that time. Suggest a more suitable term for that awkward silence. Give a reason for your answer. This one is also different. I believe it will be regret. For that awkward silence, it will be of speaking too soon. So which means if you're one of those, you have to give your own term, suitable term. They say it's nope, so you'll give your own. And as a result, that's where you have to now give a reason why you do that. Explain the reference to gold and silver in this ancient proverb. The ancient proverb ended off the text A. And I believe one of the things is gold is more valuable than silver. We all know that. Therefore, the proverb will suggest that it's better to be quiet than to speak when there is no need. Silence is more valuable as gold is, while speech is the silver and is not valuable. So as a result, I believe it was weighing the two, and therefore the gold was the silence. This was the silence. This was the speech. So silence is more preferable to speech. That's what we were talking about because gold is more valuable than silver. Let's go to text B. Identify the setting of this cartoon. Let's look at the cartoon quickly. These awkward poses are so embarrassing. And then we have cups in front of them. I believe we are in a coffee shop. So as a result, they say identify the setting. It's a coffee shop. And I believe we have the cups, coffee cups in front of the couple. Okay, write the latest thoughts in more formal English. Okay, let's go and see what she said. She said, he's kind of cute when he shuts up. In formal English, he is, I believe cute comes out, attractive falls in, charming can come in when he is silent. He is silent. All right, that's our formal English. All right, the next question says, write the latest thoughts. We've done that one. To what extent does text B illustrate the points the writer makes in text A? One of the things we must find a connection. It always starts from text B. We must find a connection to a paragraph in text A, and therefore that's why we had to look for these things. Text B shows, let's go back quickly. What did he think? He said these awkward pauses are so embarrassing. Okay, we need to go find a connection somewhere in text A. If we can, we must. Okay. I think it's paragraph 1, whereby say silence floods in and no one seems to know how to wrestle the conversation back to life. So the connection was to paragraph 1. Text B shows that the man is feeling uncomfortable by the silence, by the break in the conversation. Supported, which is supported. Now we are linking to text A, which is supported by text A, paragraph 1. By text A, paragraph 1, which specified or outlined that no one seems to know how to wrestle the conversation back to life when awkwardness comes in a conversation. It was 3 marks, so we had to find a connection. Please, you start with text B always. You outline what you see there, and then you link to a paragraph in text A, and you state what has been said there, and therefore it means you have filled in the dots. Let's go to the summary. The summary says, the article gives insight into when it is best to be quiet. So now it says, summarize the advice which is given. Your summary should include 7 points and must not exceed 90 words. All right, silence, as they say, is golden, but it is a concept which is overlooked in our fast-paced chatter lives. I believe that is an introductory statement, so which means we don't have a point there. All right, let's move on to paragraph 2. Paragraph 2 says there's an art of knowing when to speak up and when to stay quiet. I believe that's our point. That's our first point. It can be the difference between escalating. I believe we've done there. We've all been there. A heated argument, it says, fight back and retaliate with equally sharp words is say when tempers are flaring, words can do more harm than good and often leave a trail of regret. So our point is, what is this one? Silence can be your greatest ally. Greatest ally in the situations. That's our point. Okay. The next point is it may be best to keep silent when you are fully informed. You are not fully informed, correct? That's our point. When others are having a heated discussion and you're not well versed on the topic, instead of chiming in with half-baked ideas or uninformed opinions, it may be best to just listen and learn. That's another opinion. All right, good. There is a reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, is said. And I believe listening is just as important, if not so more so than speaking. When someone is sharing something personal or sensitive, it is crucial to give them space, correct, to express themselves, their thoughts and feelings. I believe that's our point. Okay. The next one, our next point says there is time to speak and a time to remain silent. Knowing the difference can save you from unnecessary conflict and misunderstanding. And as such, if someone is busy, stressed, or simply not in the right frame of mind to have a conversation, then it is most often better to hold your thought and wait for a more appropriate time to talk. I agree with that one. Unnecessary conflict. Knowing the differences exactly can save you from unnecessary, that's advice, conflict and misunderstanding. I believe also, I'm also on this one. It is most often better to hold your thoughts and wait for a more appropriate time to talk. I believe that's what we have there. The next point, I believe, is it can be very tempting to become embroiled in gossip. It is human nature to be curious about what is happening in the lives of others, but getting involved in gossip can lead to hurt feelings, broken trust, and tarnished reputations. If you unwittingly become part of a gossip-filled conversation, then silence is your best defense. All right, I believe our point will be, if you unwittingly become this one, that's a point. Gossip-filled conversation, that's our point there. Then silence is your best defense. Yes. Okay. All right. I believe all right. There is an old saying that says, do not speak unless you can improve the silence. Okay. Not every silence needs to be filled. Sometimes silence itself is the most meaningful, respectful. Not every silence needs to be filled. I think that's what I'm seeing there. Is the most meaningful. Sometimes silence itself is the most meaningful. This one, I believe, is the most meaningful, respectful response. I'm still looking at this one. It sounds, it's difficult for me to ignore it, so I'm going to underline it. Choosing not to participate in gossip protects your own integrity. I believe we have so many points here, so I cannot leave it out. It keeps jumping out even if I've passed. Okay. So before you break the silence, ask yourself, will my words add value? Will they bring comfort and positivity? If you cannot answer yes to these questions, then you may be better off saying nothing at all. I believe we are better off saying nothing at all. I believe this is something which came in from our term 1 end of term paper that had so many points. You just need only 7. We had so many 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 points were jumping out. But you just needed any 7 that you can use in your own words. Remember, you use your own words as much as possible. You use synonyms, and therefore you'll be fine. Super quiet, lot is decibel operation, quietly cutting a good sleep. Okay. As a refrigerator, it says, all right. Identify the target market for this advertisement, it says. I believe it will be families, homeowners. Okay. Explain the use of the hyphen in the word low decibel. I believe we are very clear. It creates a compound word. No one should be getting hyphens wrong by now. We've been doing punctuation over and over. Truncate the word refrigerator, and I believe it will become fridge. Outline to what extent the visuals tie in with the main feature of the product being advertised. The product, I believe, is a silent fridge. So a family sleeping peacefully, the visual shows a family sleeping peacefully. Okay. A family sleeping peacefully. One of the things is and not being disturbed. By a noisy refrigerator. I believe what it shows is the low noise from the fridge. So as a result, that's what you are supposed to give. That's the main feature. Low noise is the quality that it is being advertised for. Comment on the effectiveness of the use of the word guarding with reference to good sleep. Protection. Is what comes out when we say guarding. So in this instance, let's look at how it was used quickly. Let's be very clear. Where is that? Quietly guarding a good sleep. Okay. Quietly guarding a good sleep. Okay. I believe one of the things is that the refrigerator, that's what's coming into my mind. The refrigerator ensures that the owners will get peaceful sleep as there will be no noise. Identify the universal symbol at the bottom. I believe it's the curved sound lines, this one. So curved sound lines, this one, exactly. It's the curved sound lines. That's a universal symbol. That there will be no noise. Curved sound lines. The advertiser implies that the refrigerator is quieter than breathing. Explain how this message is conveyed, it says. I believe the decibels, which are the loudness uh, of the refrigerator, but it says 0 to 20 decibels, which means that it's not loud. Its noise or loudness is from 0 to 20 decibels. Therefore, it is never loud. Right. Study the cartoon text E and answer the set questions, it says. Well, you won again. Is that all you're gonna say? You're not fun to beat Charlie Brown. Beating you is like beating nothing. I can't even lose, right? Right. Account for the comma in frame 1. It's a pause. Well, you won again. I had it when I was speaking. It's a pause. Definitely a pause. And then someone could have said, I'm seeing emphasis on the word well. Emphasis on the word well. Give one word to describe the boy's facial expression in frame 2. I believe, is that all you're going to say? I think he's disappointed. I think it's disappointed. Resigned can come in as well. Explain the use of the apostrophe. Punctuation has been featuring in our papers. In frame 2, is that all you going to say? It's a contraction of you are. It's a contraction. Based on the girl's body language in frame 3, identify and explain the tone of her words. Let's start with the body language. What does she do? She turns her back on the boy. Turns her back on the boy. That's what she does first. And therefore, what does that show? Being annoyed. Annoyance. It's like beating nothing. I'm sensing frustration there as well because I'm putting myself in that situation and I think I'll be frustrated. The boy in the cartoon is a sore loser. To what extent is this a valid statement? But he does not protest. So why would we call him a sore loser? He didn't protest. He accepted that he lost. It's something that always happens. No, he is not a sore loser. He is not a sore loser. He does not protest, fight. He accepts the defeat like a gentleman. He accepts it calmly. So there's no way you'll be a sore loser. Identify the irony in the boy's words. What did he say? Let's quickly check what he said in frame 4. I can't even lose, right? He says. I believe one of the things that is showing us, he expects the girl to be happy because she is beating him. But instead, she accuses him of taking the fun out of the game because he's not a sole loser. That was the irony. She expects him to be a sole loser, but he's not. So let's write the irony right properly. All right, the answer will be the boy expects the girl to be happy, because she has beaten him again. She has beaten him again, but she accuses him of taking the fun out of the game. Okay. Let's go to the most difficult part of our exam, which is question number 5. Silence as a sign of respect, it says. Communication is a fundamental aspect of human interaction, and words play a central role in Western communication. Awkward silences are often seen as uncomfortable and are avoided through small talk. Therefore, it may come as a surprise that silence holds a different meaning in many Eastern cultures. In many Asian countries, silence is embraced and is regarded as a meaningful form of communication. It is considered polite to pause before answering a question, as it indicates that careful thought has been given to the query and the subsequent response. Silence also holds various connotations within different contexts. It is common to observe a moment of silence to honor a specific occasion, such as death, tragedy, or historical event. Moments of silence provides for individuals to reflect on the event, examine their own thoughts and feelings, or to offer silent prayers. A moment of silence is also a way to express solidarity with others who are also grieving or who have also been affected by a specific event or tragedy. These moments of silence are usually observed for about 1 minute, but they can be shorter or longer depending on the context of the event. In hierarchical cultures, silence can symbolize submission. Younger individuals are expected to be more reserved, while the power of speech is reserved for the elderly. In these cultures, silence is viewed as a sign of deference to authority. Before interacting with someone from a different culture, it is important to understand how they interpret and understand silence. Don't always assume that silence means the same thing and be open to different interpretations. Explain the term small talk in paragraph 1. Talking about irrelevant things, things that don't matter. Exactly. That's small talk. Talking about irrelevant things. Change the suffix in the underlined word of paragraph 2. What was underlined, boys and girls? I believe it's meaningful. So which means we had to change the suffix, which means it becomes meaningless to create its antonym, right? So it's meaningless. Identify the Americanism in paragraph 3. Oh my gosh. Silence also holds various connotations within different contexts. It is common to observe a moment of silence to honor a specific occasion. I believe it's honor, this one. It's definitely the Americanism because ours has a U. It's honor. Correct the error of concord in line 1 of paragraph 4, it says. Let's look at it quickly. It says, moments of silence provides for individuals to reflect on the event. Okay, I believe we found it there. Moments of silence provide for individuals. It's provide, this one. It's supposed to be provide without the S. We have to take it out. All right. The next one is identify and correct the malapropism in paragraph 4. Okay, let's read it again so that we get it right. Moments of silence provides for individuals to reflect on the event, examine their own thoughts and feelings, or to offer silent prayers. A moment of silence is also a way to express solidarity with others who are also grieving or who have also been affected is what it's supposed to be. It's affected by, affected. Explain why the statement in paragraph 5 is an example of a compound sentence. One of the things that we should always know is, what does it contain? These moments of silence are usually observed for about 1 minute, but they can be shorter or longer. There is, what do we call it? We have a coordinating conjunction, which is but. So it's two main clauses with a coordinating conjunction, but coordinating conjunction. There we go. Explain, give a synonym for the word difference. Difference, I believe, in paragraph 6. In this culture, silence is viewed as a sign of deference to authority. So I believe it's obedience. Explain the use of the colon in paragraph 6. Submission, younger individuals. It's definitely, what do we call this? Explanation. Further information, explanation. Any of those two is applicable. Explanation, further information. Okay. And then remove the redundancy in paragraph 7. Remove the redundancy in paragraph 7. Okay, let's look at the redundancy again in paragraph 7. Before interacting with someone from a different culture, it is important to understand how they interpret and understand silence. That's the same thing. So one had to fall out. The redundancy is this. Interpreting is understanding. How they interpret silence or how they understand silence was the redundancy. Write the following statement in the passive voice. Silence can be a way of showing respect for others. So respect becomes our subject now. Respect for others can be shown through silence. Right, that was our 30 marks for section C. This is our problematic section. So let's try and revise these structures and these categories, because they will be coming over and over again until you have to meet them again in your next paper 1, and it will be easier if you can understand them from the beginning. All right, we've come to the end of our revision. A good evening to all of you.